Let's cross live to the United States of America, where we can check in with Nigel Farage, who joins us live from Florida. Good morning to you. We spotted you there in the crowd in West Palm Beach, where Donald Trump was making that acceptance speech, looking rather pleased. How are you feeling?
Oh, delighted, absolutely delighted. This is what I thought it would happen, but it's happened on a really big scale. The swings towards Trump are truly remarkable, so I'm thrilled by that. On a human level, for him, this is the most incredible political comeback we've seen in modern times. I mean, no one since Churchill has gone from the top to the bottom and come back again in quite this way. That's remarkable. And just the number of Americans just saying, hey, you know what, we've had enough of the direction our government's going in. We want somebody who gives strong leadership. No, it's a truly, whether you like him or not, he is a remarkable human being. It's a great achievement, and I'm very proud to call him a friend of mine.
But it wasn't predicted, Nigel. You look back to just yesterday, and no one was saying this was going to happen. Why has it happened? Why did it happen?
Well, actually, Eamon, to be fair, on GB News at 7 o'clock live last night, I said loudly and clearly, Trump will win. So there were one or two of us who did see, where it's going to go. I just think that the silent majority in America, and by the way, we have the same silent majority in our country, they've just had enough of big governments who tax too much, who make people's lives difficult, who overregulate them, who pursue policies on energy, for example, that put people's bills up. All of those things are there. But the crucial one, to add to that, is the border. You know, over 10 million illegal immigrants have come into the United States of America since Joe Biden was president. And people are seeing in their cities increases in crime, gang crime in particular, huge problems. And what they want is somebody to provide a solution.
My memory is long enough to go back to the midterms when you were predicting the red wave then, and it didn't materialise. Clearly, the tide has now turned. I wonder in the post-mortem how much of this will be blamed, perhaps, on the failures of Joe Biden in all of this, that his legacy has handed this to Trump as well.
Well, of course. I mean, the withdrawal from Afghanistan, which led to the Taliban taking back over after 20 years of much treasure and much blood that was shed by us and the Americans and one or two others, clearly part of the failure. The fact the world is closer to a conflagration than it's been at any point in any of our lifetimes will be put on Joe Biden. The fact that he changed America's energy policy and started reducing effectively the amount of their own oil and gas they were producing in the rush for renewables. Yes, a lot is to be blamed on Biden, but it's also this centre-left big government agenda, as I say, that overtaxes, overspends, and just gets everything wrong.
Nigel, you were talking about America's image changing there. What about the president's image? What about Donald Trump's image? Do you think we'll see a different Donald Trump, a more conciliatory Donald Trump in any way, a man who's got less to prove? He knows what he's got to do, but he's got less to prove.
Yeah. Do you know, over the last 48 hours, I've seen him a couple of times. He has been calm in the most extraordinary way. He, over the last few weeks, has shown humour in public. We've not seen before. I've seen it in private. We've seen it in public. He is now an unencumbered president who genuinely wants to make change for the good. And I think the really interesting thing that we'll see is he will attack the bureaucratic administrative state that has got bigger and bigger and bigger. You know, Washington, inside the Beltway. And I think Elon Musk will come in, and just as in Twitter, he sacked vast numbers of people and yet still kept the business going. We're going to see that happening right throughout the public sector in America. And I very much hope that proves to be a blueprint for what we need to do in our country.
Yeah, what about this result then for us here in the United Kingdom? In the last 15 minutes or so, we've heard from the Prime Minister congratulating Trump, but also talking about, you know, being the closest of allies and standing shoulder to shoulder. I mean, do you see that being possible given how politically different these two administrations are and some of the language that's been expressed by the Foreign Secretary towards the new president-elect?
No, that's a fair point. I mean, clearly, politically, Keir Starmer and Donald Trump are a long way apart. Things that have been said in the past by David Lammy, the Foreign Secretary, let alone Sadiq Khan, the Mayor of London, are very, very unhelpful. And sending over 100 Labour staffers to campaign for Kamala Harris was diplomatically a very stupid thing for a newly elected Labour government to do. But the thing to remember that's important, Trump is instinctively very, very pro-British. This is the most pro-British president we've had for decades. You know, his mum was a Scot and he loved the Queen, and all of those things actually matter. He has expressed to me over the years many times his desire to do a genuine free trade deal with the United Kingdom
Nigel,
that actually would benefit both sides of that equation.
One word
That's
for
an
you there.
opportunity.
Tariffs. I mean, are we going to be exempt from those?
Well, yes, and that's our opportunity. I mean, don't forget, the European Union themselves are putting big tariffs on Chinese cars and batteries and all of those things. No, we have a massive opportunity here. Now, clearly, what the Labour government need to do is to roll out the red carpet, to be welcoming, maybe to be just ever so slightly apologetic, you know, for sending people over to back Kamala Harris during the campaign. There is a fantastic opportunity ahead of us, and all I can say, as somebody who was a personal friend of his, has backed him all the way through his career, you know, if I can help broker a little bit of peace between the two, I'd be very happy to help.
Okay, you're available for that. Nigel, what was the atmosphere like in that hall? I mean, we've talked about the politics there of things, but basically, how would you describe the feeling when he walked out on stage there and made that acceptance speech?
Ecstatic. Absolutely ecstatic. It was a level of energy and optimism that I've rarely seen in my life. It was really a very, very special moment and a very historic moment. I mean, you know, nobody for over a century has lost a presidency and regained it. And everybody thought it was unthinkable. And remember all the court cases they put him through, all the terrible things they said about him. He is just the most resilient human being. And I think that crowd were full of admiration for him as a man.
What about those people then who, in America, but I suppose in the United Kingdom, who will be concerned by that, by the number of legal cases that will now be discarded? You know, in American law, nobody is supposed to be above it, the president included. He's expected to pardon himself. You know, a lot of conservatives in America themselves, you know, believe in the rule of law. What would you say to those people who are concerned by this news today?
Well, the rule of law is very important, but the abuse of law is equally important. And I mean, the court case that was taken against the Trump organization in New York, quite unlike anything that had ever been seen before in the entire history of American legal law. This was a political attempt to get him. The great American public saw through at the middle of that. I don't expect him for a moment to be as vindictive against them as they were against him. He's going to be too busy getting on with the job of governing. And frankly, you know, I mean, the most upset people tonight are mainstream media. People like Emily Maitlis swearing, you know, CNN virtually in tears. Mainstream media don't like the result of this. They can't accept this. And I understand there's a demonstration planned in London tomorrow night by a bizarre left-wing organisation called Stand Up to Racism, who clearly don't even like democracy. He's won this fair and square. He's won this big. He's won not just the electoral college votes, but he's won the popular vote as well. And yet some people just can't seem to accept it. Well, get used to it, because it's happened in America, and it's going to start happening all over Europe and the rest of the world too.
Well, we've got used to you over the past 24 hours. Updated your programme last night. It's what, 20 to 4, is it, in the morning?
20 to 4, yeah.
Yeah, really appreciate you taking time out, Nigel, and speaking to us this morning. And I hope you get some catch-up sleep at some stage. Thanks very much indeed.
It's a pleasure.
Thank you.